You ready? Yeah. Shouldn't eat that cheese stuff.
Yeah.
Just where does it come from? Now, someone needs to tell us how much of that stream you actually heard. Welcome to all of you there. We've just come from our Patreon stream, so we are assuming that you can hear us loud and proud.
Yes.
From sunny Greece.
Our patrons are always our guinea pigs to make sure that our setup works okay.
They're like, we can't hear you, turn it up. Anyway, so let's get some hellos. Brad, welcome. I can see you've ported directly from the last stream to this one, so welcome again, sir.
And so has Robert.
Well, you know, and Craig.
And I saw Rob and you.
All right, well, there you go. Lovely to see you all. So Trish, hello, beautiful Trish. Unbreakable bond. That's probably quite poignant now that unfortunately Sean Connery's passed over. Philip, hello, and Lisa and Josh and Chris again. Nice to see you, sir. Marty, Julienne, bonsoir. Michael. So smooth, wasn't it? Bonsoir, Julienne.
Yeah, it's very nice.
Sandra, again, all of you fantastic. So we are in Greece. We have been here for about 5 weeks now, beavering away like little beavers.
Yeah.
In fact, never before have we seen beavers.
So beavery.
Yeah, we had, honestly, there's more beaver than you could shake a stick at.
So just quickly, there was a couple of very early comments before we went live, and I just wanted to pick up on one. So Iris, lovely name by the way, Iris, says, my husband Mark got me into YouTube sailing shows, and yours is one of my favourites.
Nice one, thank you.
So thank you very much.
Thanks, Iris.
And Chris says, just want to say I love your channel and I watch every episode. Thank you, Chris. That is very, very much appreciated by us.
Yeah. Who have we got now? Hello from Saskatchewan. I always wanted to go there. I've always
Where
wanted
is that?
Up in Canada.
Say that again.
I got it right. I got it right.
I'm just trying to
Saskatchewan.
Saskatchewan. Wow, that is wow.
And from British Columbia, home of Whistler, which is one of my favourite resorts. And Sylvia's in Israel. Mazel tov. I'm running out of words I know in different languages. And Nova Scotia, again, up somewhere else. So listen, I hope that firstly, everyone, you are all keeping pretty safe from this there's some stuff going on in the world now, which isn't overly pleasant. So yeah, we hope that you're all safe, sound, tucked up, away from kind of like nasty things. So yeah. So
we already have 240 viewers.
For those of you who are familiar with these live streams, the way it works is you just ask us questions. We'll ask them if we can, because there are so many questions that kind of go flying up. If we haven't answered your question, just keep typing it in and we will hopefully get to them all. And once we've answered all the questions, we'll go and have a beer somewhere. That's the way it works. So if you just line the questions up and we will get going.
Yeah, there's already been quite a few coming through. What we'll answer first of all quickly is that you may have seen on the news that there was an earthquake in Greece yesterday. And there's been lots of people asking if we're okay. We didn't even feel it here. Everything was totally fine where we are. So thank you for those of you who've asked. Obviously, people lost their lives and buildings have collapsed. People have lost their livelihoods and businesses and whatnot, homes. So yeah, we're obviously thinking of them.
Yeah.
Sorry, I just saw that. Just let us know, by the way, if there's any issues with our the quality of our live stream, because I just saw something.
It comes a
bit weird on our end. We are doing the best we can in terms of quality of kind of the internet signal here. We're in the old town of Rhodes, and lots of high walls mean that we don't always get the strongest signal. So I do apologise if it's a little bit buffery. Let us know if it gets unbearable.
Yeah, we'll see what we can do. So hi from Munich to Tweetco. So let us just tell you about what our plans are. Yeah, apologies about the video. It's buffering. There seems to be no rationale to it. We've said what we can see says we've got a good stream, but obviously we don't. The plans we've got, the news that that came through 3 days ago, we now have been given permission to enter Australia, which means that in January we are going to be in Australia, which is pretty awesome news. We did not think we'd get that. We thought that we'd be locked out of Australia for a while, but yeah, we had to fill in this is the thing for those of you, and we've had a lot of this on the internet. You've got to submit an application months in advance, and even the Australian website says it can take months. It took 12 hours. So from submitting the application form to get into Australia and receiving notification that we could enter, 12 hours. So Australia in January, we will hopefully be there for 4 to 6 months. So we are hopefully going to get some sailing done. Well, we better get some bloody sailing done. We haven't got a boat. We need a boat. So we will be sailing around Australia. We've got some charters lined up. We will then be heading off to Asia, assuming that everything opens up. And from there, after Asia, we are going to be going to Vietnam. And obviously, as you know, we will be heading to see our new boat being built. We've already had a minor bit of grief saying we're mentioning Seawind too much, so we're going to try and keep Seawind mentions so that the moaning minis don't think that this is a sponsored Seawind advert, because it's not. We don't have to mention Seawind ever. Though we are
ever again.
We don't. We are under no obligation. But some of you may want to hear the wind news that we have, and we put the video out the other week, so there are, we have meetings with them twice a week to discuss how the boat's coming on, what features they're putting into this boat, and it's going really, really well. We still, with a high degree of certainty, believe that we're going to have the boat splashed in the water around this time next year, and then we will sail her a bit. We still haven't decided. Whether we will take the boat to Europe and sail it in Europe, or we will sail it around Asia. Also to do with what boat shows we want to be at and other bits and bobs. So yeah, we're pretty keen on all that. So that's good news. So yeah, that's about right. What else did you want to ask? What other questions do we have, my love?
Right. So one question was whether, because last year we sailed through the French canals in France, obviously, and a lot of you actually asked at the time, and there's been another question just now, whether we would consider doing a trip through like the Great Lakes and the ICW. I think it's called the Great Loop in the US.
Yep.
And we thought about doing that when we were in the US a few years ago, but first of all, it's a long way, so we wouldn't have had. We can only stay in the US for 6 months at a time, and you really need, in my opinion, longer than 6 months to do that trip. So, we had to have left the US on our boat 6 months after arriving. So from a logistical point of view, it kind of wasn't that easy. But yeah, we will definitely, we hope to come back to the US at some point on our boat. That we would really like to go. So fingers crossed we make it up there at some point on our new boat, ideally.
All I would say is that I did a little bit of the ICW through Florida. It's just, we've actually got the episodes that we saw. I saw a shuttle launched from Cape Canaveral. It was pretty amazing.
Yeah, that's cool.
But not a shuttle. Hang on, sorry, go back 25. Yeah, a SpaceX launch. So it was pretty impressive. But the ICW is pretty samey from what we saw. The bit I saw of it, it wasn't like the French canals.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I'm not sure. I think that the ICW is a little bit easier than the French canals because it's like deeper and a lot wider. So there's not, it's not as challenging. Okay, so keep your questions coming. And you okay?
So I'm just clearing my throat.
You okay?
So I'm just clearing my throat.
And we'll try and get as many of them answered as we possibly can. So as you guys may know, maybe you don't know, if you follow us on social media, you probably know that we are currently in Greece. We sold Ruby Rose about 6 weeks ago, and that was a very strange time. And for those of you who are just kind of watching our YouTube episodes but don't follow us and what we're doing in real time, because obviously there's a lag, we sailed the boat back to the UK this summer, and we ended up, selling her.
Baby, just carry on talking.
What's wrong?
There's no sound. Look at the comments.
Oh, there's no sound.
Just go and check.
Okay. Let me know if the sound comes back. That's really crazy. I don't know what the problem is. I think that was okay before. Do you have a full signal? Maybe take these leads out.
I don't think it's that though.
We can hear you fine. I can hear. Okay.
I can hear. Okay,
all right,
fine.
Then. We'll
I'm back.
keep going. Sorry, guys. Where was I? So we sold Ruby Rose about 6 weeks ago, and about 6 weeks ago, maybe 5.5 weeks ago, we got on a plane and we came to Greece. And the reason why we came to Greece is because, well, as a lot of you may know, there's, you know, a lot of a second wave of COVID in Europe at the moment. And it's quite serious. And we, at least in Greece, are not very badly affected by that at the moment yet. So Greece is relatively safe still at the moment. What's everyone saying?
Half and half. Some have got sign, some don't.
That's so strange.
We'll keep going, and if it, there we go.
Yeah,
the picture is pretty stuttery. I think we'll probably wind this up and try another one in a couple of weeks when we got it better.
Yeah, I think that. Well, we were saying to our patrons just before that we have been doing like Zoom meetings and Skype meetings with no problem. So we hoped that it would be okay. The internet signal here would be okay to do a live stream, but unfortunately, it's kind of not happening.
Yep.
Hello, Precision Sales.
Hello, Ron. Or it's either Ron or Daryl. Not quite sure which one of you it is, but how are you doing? So we are staying here for a while, and we will probably, I think from here we'll go home to London for Christmas. After that, as I've said, we've got permission to go to Australia, and then we'll take it from there.
Yeah, so we'll go back, to London for Christmas, we hope, and then we'll take it from there. So I don't know, guys. What do you reckon? Like, I'm not sure what the signal's like.
Half of you saying no sound. I think what we're going to do is we're going to probably stop this because it's not really fair for if no one's got sound. So listen, we will just do the technical issues.
Hang on. Let's just give it another couple of minutes. People are saying that if you restart, then or maybe refresh. Yeah, do a refresh, and see if it gets better. We'll just continue for like another minute and see if it improves. Restart helped. Yeah. Restart, refresh.
Yeah, you've got to refresh your screen.
Try refreshing your screen. Someone's saying blame YouTube. Yeah, let's blame YouTube for this one.
Yeah, everyone that's refreshed is saying that the sound has come back.
Okay, it's fine. Don't go, says Rob. Yeah, I didn't want to leave yet. We've only just started.
Oh, bloody hell.
So much to talk about.
So for those of you that know, our wedding had to be postponed.
We're meant to be.
I kept saying cancelled, and I kept getting a bollocking. She's like, "It's not cancelled. We're just postponing it." So yeah,
you're meant to be a married man right now.
I was, so I'm still on the run.
Yeah.
So
ladies, there's still time.
My hairy ass
to catch this great specimen. Feel free.
So Canuck asks, you mentioned you were talking to Seawind every week. Would the specifications not have been agreed when you ordered? No, they haven't been agreed. They're meant to have been, I think, because it's us. They give us a little bit of a pass, and there are certain things that we just wanted to get clarification on. So certain aspects of the boat, and again, because it's a new build, they're kind of feeling their way through the specification. Initially, we're hull number 2, so because we've got like an input in this, we're partnered with them. It is. It was being felt out. So I think we're 95% of the way there with the spec.
Yeah, and once we're 100% of the way there and everything is definitely set in stone, we'll be talking more about the spec. But we haven't yet because of that reason. We're still making decisions about everything. What's that warning that's just come?
That's okay. It's a stream. Right?
It's okay. Okay. So keep your questions coming. You guys seem to be saying that the audio is better.
It's fine.
The video is not so good. But as long as you can hear us, I guess that's the main thing. So I do apologise.
So Alan asks, is Ruby Rose sold? Yeah, she's gone.
Yeah.
She went, I think, on the 15th of September. So about 6 weeks ago. We took 6 years of our life and condensed it into 5 tough crates, which was tough, actually. I think we're pretty aware that wherever we end up with a new boat, we've got to move there. So we didn't want to kind of take a lot of stuff with us, so we left a lot of stuff for the new owners. They have got plans to sell the boat down to the Mediterranean, which is lovely, and then hopefully further afield, but they've just done the sensible thing and said, we are just going to take it one step at a time. So we left loads of stuff for them, even down to like cutlery, I think we left for them. And if they want to throw it out, they can throw it out, but we won't be taking that with us. So 5 tough crates, and a bag of clothes each. And so, yeah, that's where we are with that. She leaving Ruby Rose, I thought was going to be like a real emotional wrench, and it wasn't. It hasn't been, has it?
No, and it's funny. And maybe you guys, those of you who have sold boats that you were really attached to, maybe kind of understand where we're coming from. I think that we were so focused on getting her sold because we knew that we like wouldn't be able to afford Ruby Rose 2 if we hadn't sold Ruby Rose. You know, that was just unfortunately the finances. So we had to sell her, and we were really getting quite stressed that was going to be a long and painful process because, you know, of Brexit and then the pandemic. She's a very niche boat. She's a Southerly 38, so very, very niche. So yeah, it was starting to really stress us out that maybe it was going to take a long time. So when it happened, the buyer was so keen, and he was so lovely, and he was just so organized. And I mean, he's a great guy. He and his wife were lovely people, and they were just super keen to get it done as quickly as possible. And they just were great, weren't they?
Yeah, they made our life pretty easy.
They made our lives so
we're
easy.
pretty appreciative of that.
So we hope we made their lives easy as well. We spent a whole day with them to hand over and take them out sailing, and you know, all that kind of stuff. So. Yeah, but we didn't take much with us. We just took stuff with us that we planned to take to Ruby Rose 2. Everything else, there was no point in keeping. Okay, so there's just Philip. Hello, Philip. I'm assuming you're from Australia. You are saying when you sail around Australia, pop by Bundaberg. I'll take you for a tour. If you have any tips.
Is that where they make root beer?
Philip.
Is
that where they make root beer?
I'm sure you can buy Bundaberg root beer in a little
you can. The little brown bottle with the orange label.
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know. Philip, we are definitely going to be sailing in Australia. You can answer this for us. Sailing in Queensland in summer, like thumbs up or thumbs down, because we're hoping to get to Australia in January, and then we're wanting to kind of like get out sailing maybe February, March, and Queensland's the obvious choice maybe, but I'm concerned about like the season and not being ideal. So let us know whether that's a good time.
Bundaberg make rum. We're there.
Ginger beer and rum.
We're there. Someone asked, did the new owners keep the name Ruby Rose? Yes, they did.
Yeah, they did.
That's pretty nice.
I was kind of surprised that they were going to do that, but it's lovely.
Yes.
Okay.
Someone said, does boat insurance give you a credit back? Yes, they do. Yeah, we told them the date at which it sold, and they refunded, because we pay monthly for our boat insurance. They refunded the pro rata difference. They always have done. They're pretty good. So yeah, that was something that was funneled back into our account.
Yeah. Little saving there.
Yeah. So boat is sold, and someone said, yeah, I thought it would be a wrench. I thought it would be an absolute wrench for me. I think we spent. I think we were preoccupied with, firstly, the weather, trying to get back across. It's actually, from a point of view of getting a boat back to the UK from the Channel Islands, it's navigationally pretty challenging. It is, isn't it? It was probably one of the most difficult navigational challenges we've done.
I think it was mainly because we had to go for those of you familiar with the area, and if you're not familiar with it, then keep watching our channel because we'll be explaining all. We had to go from Jersey, which is not the natural jump off point, and dealing with the tides. It was a real challenge. Nick's absolutely right. We had to, I think, do 46 miles in one tide, so in about 5.5 hours, which was really... Well, we didn't quite make it, did we?
We didn't make it. So
anyway,
it was hard, and I think so. With the stress of that, the fact that the weather was, we had to wait for a weather window. I think we waited 2.5 weeks for a weather window.
We waited for ages. Yeah.
There's a few summer storms came in, and then in addition to that, we had to then get the boat ready to sell. So I think we just were so preoccupied with everything that it was, we didn't have time to mourn the passing of our boat.
So Philip says, stick to southern central Queensland. Yeah, definitely. What is the earliest that you'd recommend going to the Whitsundays? Like April or May? Let me know how early we can get there. Because I think we'll have to stick to, as you say, further south, maybe New South Wales even.
Alan asks about delivery of Ruby Rose 2. Still up in the air. We're not sure whether it's going to be delivered. We're going to deliver it in Vietnam or in Europe. Depends on boat shows, on what our plans are. So we hope to have that information in the next couple of 3 months.
So a question about getting back to Australia. Yeah, so we did mention this at the beginning of the feed. There's loads more of you watching now, so probably a lot of you missed it. So happily, did we mention this at the beginning of the feed, or was it when we were talking to our patrons? I can't remember. Sorry.
You're the organised one, babe.
Yeah, I know. I forgot. You know how you forget like who you tell what to? Yeah, I'm having that moment. Anyway, Nick has his visa for Australia. We got that approved 2 or 3 days ago. And he has his travel exemption approved, which is very exciting because that is the one thing that I was worried about. So we have all the paperwork in place to get to Australia because, as you know, probably that the Australian borders are completely closed, like no one in, no one out. We can go in, obviously, because I'm an Australian citizen and Nick is my partner. So the only problem now is that they have caps on international arrivals, so you can't easily get in because there's no flights. So we are trying to navigate that at the moment, and we're hoping to get back. We're probably going to fly into Sydney, and we are hoping to do that in January.
That'd be good.
So, yeah.
Chris asks, how many more weeks of sailing content do we have? We have stockpiled content. Not we stockpiled, but for the last 5 years, we've always known that we get off the boat at a certain point. We knew pretty early on this season that come September, because of the seasons, we would probably be off the boat. So we kind of filmed a lot.
Well, exactly. When you know that you're going to have this big gap, then you can kind of factor that into your filming schedule. But there's no doubt that once we get to Australia, we're going to be wanting to, get out sailing and do some exploring and, hopefully do some cruising around the East Coast. And we'll be filming that. I'm really excited about that, actually.
Yeah, we're going to be doing some sailing around Australia.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome.
So, because the thing is, we have never really sailed a catamaran, and it's different. So I want to learn, before we get onto the new boat, I want to kind of get some experience in sailing catamaran. So it's a good time to do it. Beautiful country. That's that. So someone asked, what do we do each day in Greece? We work all day long, literally.
We literally do not have a moment to.
We start work the other day. For those of you who haven't seen, we did a television interview with Australian News. We were up at 5:30 to catch that.
It's on our Facebook page, by the way.
And so we normally work about 8 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Yeah.
It's this YouTube malarkey. It is a lot of work.
Yeah. I would say that we start around 9 and finish around 4 or 5.
Yeah. Canuck asks about a little bit more detail about the workshop. That is to come. I'm hoping to get some sort of more information on that soon. But yes, it's going to be a dedicated workshop. The bunk is going to fold back, and there's going to be a work area, and then
on River Rose 2.
On River Rose 2,
yeah. Alistair, you say look up stinger season in Northern Queensland. Yes, I know. That's what I'm trying to avoid, the old stinger.
And
situation.
Cliff says they've had a spate of shark attacks in the Whitsunday, so we're swimming there then.
Welcome to Australia. It's not the stingers, it's the sharks. It was neither of them. It's I don't know. What else is there up in Northern Queensland? Everything. All sorts going on up there.
So that was that. So Australia, as I said, we're hopefully going to get back to the UK for Christmas. We've got this kind of mad contingency that if everything is locked down in Europe, we may have to just stay here, the two of us.
And it's lovely here. We haven't put many photos up on social media of where we are, but it is beautiful. If any of you who have been to Rhodes in Greece before, you'll kind of be able to understand where we're coming from. It's just so lovely, and there's not many tourists here anymore. I mean, on the one hand, that's not great because obviously the businesses here haven't had a very good summer at all. So it would have been nice for the tourists to kind of keep coming a little bit late into the season, but that's not happening. So it's unfortunate for them, and we really feel for them. But from our perspective, it's really nice to have such a kind of just a slow vibe going on. It's all locals, that you don't get all the tourists here at the moment. So from our perspective, it's actually really nice.
Yeah, it is.
To be here.
Yeah, someone actually pointed out that someone suggested I looked like I was in banking.
Yeah, who said that? Nick was not. Well, you were a dentist, so.
Bob says, who gets their boat first, us or Bill and Sierra? I think it's actually Bill and Sierra.
Yeah.
We've kind of said to them tentatively that we would just get an apartment together, the four of us.
If we're in Ho Chi Minh at the same time.
I mean, there's a chance there'll be an overlap, so I think that,
Yeah, I hope that they don't have to wait until the end of next year.
Let's see what happens.
I don't think they do.
See what happens, but we'll get it all sorted out. I said, this thing about sailing is you have to be a little bit flexible about this stuff. So yes. So what else are we doing here? So just work, just a lot of work. It's not cold, but it's not hot. It gets to about 22, 23 in the day, but then in the evening we kind of got jumpers on and stuff. So
yeah,
it's nice.
It's really lovely.
It's pretty sweet, but it gives us a platform to work from. So yeah, that was good. What else have we been up to? So just work, as I said, and also planning. We were desperately trying to get some planning done to get ourselves sailing in Australia. That, as I said, I got my exemption to travel on my visa on Wednesday. So it's literally only 2 days ago did we find out we could go to Australia, because we were like, well, what are we going to do if we can't get in till April, May? Now that we can get in, we can start planning. So I think we had some work to do. So I think next week we're really going to kind of ramp up getting ourselves organised.
Yes, lots of organisation taking place right now.
Christy, we haven't heard from you for ages. Christy, how are you? I hope you've been on lots. You probably haven't been on many cruises because everything that's going on. So nice to see you. Someone says, The Savage, what are your thoughts on EFOI fuel cells? I don't know what they are. I know what methanol fuel cells are. I think that they are a good way of providing pretty... if you're talking about methanol fuel cells, if you could just clarify that. But methanol is a good and cheap way of making energy on a boat. It's also, the byproduct of methanol combustion is water, so they don't pollute. The problem is that in Europe, methanol in bulk is bloody expensive.
Chrissy asks, are we filming while we're in Greece? We're not really. We're going to do a little bit of filming, but we're not going to be kind of creating content while we're here. Just because this is our kind of computer time, I guess. It's good just to focus on editing and getting all the stuff done that we need, to do on our laptops.
So SRQ Lisa, were you the people we bumped into in Rhodes? Because they're asking about my dad. So unless you know my dad from some other mad part of the world.
Yeah, that's a really random question. How is your dad?
Yeah, as I say, so
he's good.
So someone is asking about methanol cells. Yeah, methanol cells are brilliant. They are silent. They are efficient. They are not polluting. But the cost of methanol varies so hugely around the world, and obviously it's flammable. So yeah.
Holly says, why are you going to Australia? Because that's where I'm from and that's where my family are, and Australia kind of have COVID under control at the moment, so we're hoping that it'll be like an easy, nice place to be, because Europe is not an easy, nice place to be right now.
Also, SRQ Lisa's asking about how he filmed it because he filmed it in his office. I wouldn't say it's an office so much like as a collection of everything he's bought in the last 50 years that he kind of hoards. Office is just far too neat.
He would love to think of it as his office.
Yeah, it's absolute shit. Yeah. When will you go to Vietnam? So the thing about Vietnam is, firstly, it's closed at the moment. Secondly, I'm not sure how long a visa we can get there. I really want to go there for like 4 to 5 months and explore. So yeah, but again, we've got to talk about getting a long-term visa there, and it's not straightforward, but we will try. If we can get into Australia, we can sure as hell get into Vietnam.
Well, actually, that's not necessarily true.
No, it's not true.
No, that's not. That's totally untrue.
A reunion with Winds and Tula would be awesome. That would be. So Billy and Sierra, obviously, they are in Florida at the moment with their truck.
And various
boats tied to the back of it. They've got so we almost definitely will catch up with Billy and Sierra at the back end of 21, because
maybe they'll even take us for a sail on their new boat.
That's a nice idea.
Yeah, Billy, Sierra.
So that's that. Nikki and Jason, we were talking to them the other day on the internet. Yeah, they are doing their thing. We will. They're such good friends of ours. I really look forward to seeing them again. They're good. They're good, genuinely good people. So yeah, so that's that.
So there's a question here. As a sailing couple, are you customizing Ruby Rose 2 in any way to make it easier to single hand? What is that? Sorry, someone's doing some work next door. Are you customizing it to make it any easier to single hand? Also, just with the two of you? No, we're not doing any further customizations. I think that it's going to be fairly easy.
Well, we have kind of like been designing this boat for a year.
Well, so. Yes. Well, the whole like design brief from Seawind to the naval architect was this catamaran needs to be perfect for a couple. So I don't know how straightforward it'll be to single hand. Probably it'll be quite straightforward because everything comes back to the cockpit.
Should
but
be.
Definitely for a sailing couple, it's completely set up. That the entire boat is set up for exactly that market, the sailing couple. So yeah, it will be. There's no need for us to do anything.
So Richard asked a question. Tell us something we don't know about Ruby Rose 2. One thing that we have been talking about them with is how they are using a pretty innovative stringer system inside the hulls, whereas they normally have stringers like ribs. They're using a strange, just a different grid system, which they say will be a lot lighter and a lot stronger. They also are putting there's a lot. I think they've managed to shave 250 kilos off the base weight of the boat by just using more carbon fiber. So that's stuff we haven't mentioned yet.
Okay, so sorry, I'm finding it really hard to read the comments on that.
So someone's asked, are we having 2 electric anchor winches? No, just one, because you can always manually crank it up. Alistair says, are you aware that you would need an exemption from Home Affairs to leave Australia? To leave?
To leave? No. Well, yes, sort of. So
you just gave 3 answers. No, yes, sort of.
Yes, I'm fully aware of the whole ban on Australians leaving. Yes, don't worry, we've got it covered. Okay.
Advocatus Diabli says, yes, we will need toothpicks and we're going to have lots of toothpicks. But I have found something which is better than toothpicks, and that is a Karcher hand steamer with a jet on it. My God, I love that thing. I've never found anything that cleans a boat so effectively as that thing. I love it.
So someone did ask, sorry, I know we're bouncing around between subjects, but we're just trying to ask the questions as they come up. About how COVID is in Greece, and right at this moment in time, it's kind of okay. Northern Greece, like the mainland, is there's definitely a spike there, but basically in most of the islands, there's very low levels of community transmission. So everything's open. There's no real restrictions. Like everywhere, you have to wear masks and sanitize and keep socially distanced. But other than that, everything's open. Life feels relatively normal here, which is one of the main reasons why we're here. If the place was in complete lockdown, then we'd probably try and get somewhere else that wasn't.
It's safe here, so we're happy here.
Yeah, we feel very safe.
Someone's asking about tender. We're going with a Highfield tender. The exact model, I don't know which one it is, and the reason I don't know which one it is because of weight. Highfield are bringing out this amazing new, I think it's called a Sport, but it's too heavy for our boat, and so we're trying to work out if they can pare down the weight for our boat. James, the next question is about James. Is what is the weight saved? Is the weight saved on Ruby Rose spent on other things? The only thing we are putting onto that boat that adds weight, that we know is adding weight, is the Corian work surfaces. Everything else we're like, no, strip the weight out. We want it to be fast. I want Corian work surfaces. We spend so much time cooking when we were living in London, and even on Ruby Rose 1 was such a big part of our lives. I want to have a galley which is on par with a galley in a home. So that means the rubbish chute to the sea. I want to be out. So obviously you don't have that in a home, but like a dedicated rubbish chute for.
Oh yes.
But hang on a second. It's the equivalent of a waste disposal unit.
I know.
A dedicated recycling chute that goes to a dedicated recycling bin, which means that we're on long passes. We haven't got to manually sort our waste. Electric hob, so an induction hob, and an electric Bosch oven, fridges and freezers, good Corian work surfaces. All that's good stuff. So that literally, when I'm in the galley, I've got space to cook, and it's a night. So yeah, that's.
Okay, so there's a question that's just gone, I can't see it anymore, but it was whether or not the solar capacity on Ruby Rose 2 is going to be maxed out at, was it
1930?
Yeah, 1930 was it? Is that the maximum that can be put on?
Yep.
I think it is. And Scott says, how close to reality are the polar diagrams? Well, we'll be putting them to the test, so
really
stay tuned.
Talking to, Antoine, they're going to be pretty accurate. So I think we should be around where we are. I think the other thing is we will have the boat lighter than its maximum kind of like loaded weight. So we're going to keep the boat light.
Well, to start with, I'm sure over time it will slowly.
Megan says, sorry, do you know how many people have ordered a Seawind 3070 from watching you guys? No idea. They've sold 48 boats so far, so
that's
who
a
knows?
lot of boats.
Sorry, you had a question.
I do. Chris says, is it your intention to invite patrons on RRII Rose 2 now that you have more space?
Yes.
Definitely.
Absolutely.
Question, we have mentioned this already. A few people have asked why RRII Rose is in Leamington. So you may have seen on AIS or whatever that she's sat in Leamington, or you may have seen her in the flesh, as it were. So yes, she's been sold to the new owner, and he's keeping her in Leamington.
Yeah, so it's a lovely part of the world, and it's nice sailing, so that's good. Salvation Navy says, enjoy your videos and channel. Teresa, you know you are very blessed. In
what sense?
You got me. I'm not actually sure that's what they said. I may have modified that comment slightly. So someone says, are we going with the carbon fibre roof on coach roof on RRII Rose 2? We are that is one of the items we're undecided on, and I think we are going to have to decide within the next couple of 3 weeks about that. So not sure. What? So you're
stop going. Sorry.
You got something to say?
No, I was just galley up or down, says David. It's a galley up.
It's galley up, and honestly, there's as much advantage to one option as the other. It's literally just, we had galley down before.
I think in the smaller catamarans, like maybe less than 44 foot, and yes, I'm aware that that's not that small. That the galley down does offer some advantages. So you look on the Antares, or you look on the 1260. I think they're the only ones that I can think of that have the galley down as standard. You can see once you're on board why they do that, because it makes so much sense to have this lovely big kind of saloon area up, and then the hull that's not the master hull, so the other hull, the guest hull, that space would otherwise be taken up by showers, heads, that kind of thing. And if you can use galley instead, then you get a much bigger galley than what you could fit up. But if the boat is kind of 45 foot or longer, then I think the advantages of a galley up are a little bit, it's a bit more evened out, because you still get a nice big galley, even if it's up. So yeah, we don't have any preference, to be honest.
Richard asks, how heavy will she be fully loaded? She can be up to 14 tons. I think she comes out the factory at 11, and she can be up to 14. We will have it way under 14. African Flight Star says that he's followed us from day one. We know that you have, actually.
Wow, that's cool.
So let us know what your actual name is so that we can say hello to you.
Chris says, I assume no washer dryer if weight is an issue. No, Chris, there are some things that we are having on board. We're not purists, just to make that perfectly clear. This boat is going to be, we hope, as fast as possible, but we're not going to compromise on the things that we think are going to make a big difference to...
I think we're going with the Daewoo one, though, which is a very lightweight washer. Yeah. It's a 3 kilo one.
There were a few different options for the washer dryer, and now they've cut out the bigger one, and it's just going to be that small Daewoo. What's it called? The Mini or something?
Daewoo Mini.
Yeah, so it doesn't actually... and it's not a dryer anyway, it's just a washer.
Douglas asks, furling main or stack pack? Always stack pack on a catamaran. Where you're trying to keep the weight down, and when you're trying to keep the centre of weight low. The problem with furling mains is why they confer a lot of advantage. Number one, you're keeping weight up high, because even when the sail is furled, it's all up there. And the second thing is the sail shape in a furling main is never going to be as good as a stack pack, because you can't have horizontal battens, and the horizontal battens are what gives the sail form. So you can put vertical battens in, but you lose performance.
Yeah, and this will obviously be a performance
boat with black sails on it. So pretty amazing looking black sails.
This question has come up a couple of times. Will you be changing the channel name? No, absolutely not. No, of course not. I mean, RRII Rose 2 will be obviously that's our channel name. So
yeah, it's fine. No, won't be.
Have you ever considered coming? Would you ever consider coming to Canada? We would both love to come to Canada.
I don't think we'll come by boat.
Well, this is the problem, that if you're going to go north, then you have to commit to probably 18 months to go north, cruise around, and then come back down south again. So I think it will be essentially a choice between going to Canada or northern US, or going through the Panama Canal and going to the Pacific that season. So I don't know. I would love to go. I'd love to go to the other side as well, the west side. I'd love to go to Alaska. I know that's part of the US, but I'd love to sail around that whole northern region.
So thank you to the Just One More. Thank you for that. That's very nice of you. And the question you're asking is, you guys rock, and what about having a logo on the sail? We talked about this, and we still haven't decided. We have got the materials for all the sail wardrobes. So we're going with GPL light skin for the main and the jib. That in itself is black. So it's dark grey, and it looks super good. So there'll be no logo on those. I think we then have to move on to downwind sails or coloured sails, because we're going with a reacher and an asymmetric. Again, I will talk to the sail makers about that. We'll get back to you. I don't think we will, because we're going with a high performance laminate. So I don't think so. Bob does actually ask, continuing the discussion about sails, is it says, do black sails increase UV resistance? The issue with black sails or with carbon sails is they're not as UV resistant as Dacron sails, but they've got some new technology, and we are using the latest technology. So there we go.
Is there some more buffering taking place?
You can see what's going on.
Okay. A couple of questions about in boom furling. So obviously in boom furling, you don't get the problem of the weight being up high, or the weight is kept down low. Do you still have the issues with the battens? Obviously they would be horizontal.
You can. It's all weight. It's all about weight.
So you can have in boom furling.
You can have in boom furling, but you're putting weight into the boom. Those aren't,
Oh, of course, because the boom would have to be a lot stronger.
Yeah.
And
you've got to roll it round. So it exists. I mean, what you can do with, booms, you can use those Park Avenue booms that are like...
Yeah, we see that on catamarans quite often.
But again, it's about weight. It's, the differences in catamarans. Someone mentioned Zatara. Those Privileges are beautiful and amazing boats, but they're not meant to go... They're not performance boats. So you can put a dishwasher in it, and they're big enough. The bigger you make the catamaran, the more weight you can put on board. So a dishwasher isn't that much of an issue. Our boat is going to be light and sporty.
Okay. Can you see black sails at night?
Yes.
Probably not.
You'll be able to see my shining teeth though as I smile into the night. So yeah,
if you guys have asked a question that we haven't answered yet, then just pop that in again, because we are only seeing like the most recent comments and questions.
So the Salvation Navy asked, any thoughts on getting your amateur radio license for more long-range HF communications? I got mine. I got it. I did a course. It was a 2-day course in Southampton. Pretty interesting, actually. It is also a legal requirement to have an HF license. I've never known anyone that's been caught. However, be aware. Jennifer, you're back, and you win the last one. You don't need to. Thank you. Anyway, someone asked, with cameras installed, how are you managing?
No, that was Jennifer.
It was Jennifer, I'm saying.
Yeah.
With cameras installed, how will you manage all the footage that you produce? Love you guys. We love you. So for those of you who don't know, Jennifer Lawrence is a
famous actress. Hollywood actress. Huge fan of ours.
Huge fan. Yeah. Also works as an accountant, and we love her as much as she loves us. So for those of you who don't know, we are having permanently fixed cameras in this boat, because we have a YouTube channel and we're designing a boat with Seawind. It allows us to say, look, we're going to put a camera there, and it's not just simply about us, designing a boat to live on board. We also have the advantage of being able to design it for our YouTube channel. So at the moment, we have got a camera in the mast, so that it will face forward. We can film there. We're also putting a camera in the cockpit so that we can film there. I said this slightly tongue-in-cheek, but there may be some evidence, some hope for this, that by the time we get Ruby Rose 2, a working Starlink system will be available for boats. So I will be pretty keen on getting Starlink installed on the boat, if we can get at some point, because it's meant to be small, it's compact, and it will give us it. And my kind of what I'd really love to aim towards is being able to just do like permanent live streams from the boat. Todd, thank you so much, sir. You just says love you guys.
Oh, thanks,
Todd. You could have asked something else, but there you go.
Okay, so Greg asks, can you share your added customizations beyond the Ruby Rose package from Seawind?
Yeah, we can, and we will do. It's not finalised yet. I think what we're going to do is once we've got it all tied up, we will put that out. So there's a lot of things, because people are saying, "Oh, are you not having a washing machine? You haven't put that in the Ruby Rose pack. Are you not having this? That's not a Ruby Rose pack." The Ruby Rose pack is literally a small series of our choices, so that we can. It's our maintenance and things like that. But there's also, we haven't put the water maker in. Yes, we're having a water maker. So and other things like that.
Yeah.
Moto UK, thank you so much. Have a beer on me, guys. We will indeed have that beer. Maybe even 2.
Thank you. Okay, so Nick's favourite question has been asked. So Nick, how I think maybe 60 seconds or less for this one.
That's just never going to happen.
We'll try.
That's never going to happen.
We'll try for it.
What's the question?
The question is, what would you recommend to start sailing the world? What would be the main steps?
And you want this in 60 seconds? What's up with you? Well, which craft are you performing this week?
All I would say is that Nick has made a video on this very subject. So if you wanted the long-winded version, we have that. You might have to scroll back a couple of years on our homepage. Might be worth making a new video on that, actually.
Yeah. Oh, Kezia's back. She hasn't been out. I haven't seen you for ages. You were a student the last time we saw you. I think you were at Swansea. Random. Delos does. Someone said about, we're continuing the discussion about Starlink. Delos has got a big dome. We want to get something a lot smaller than that.
Yeah.
So what was the question?
How to start sailing.
It really depends. If you've had no experience at all, I would literally go down to your local sailing club and just get involved. And they are super nice. I've never met a sailing club where they won't get you involved at some level. That's the first way to start. Learn from there. Just learn from old sailors going to sailing clubs. And then, literally, if you go to sailing clubs and you're learning from old sailors, you can literally, it costs you nothing. And eventually you'll get to go crewing with people. You'll get to help out on boats. Join your local sailing club. There you go.
And you also say if you're going to buy a boat, if you've gone from like crewing and wanting to be a boat owner, then obviously a very sensible first step would be to buy a small boat, not too expensive, hopefully, and something that you can kind of manage and learn on and step up from. Don't go straight to like the 50-foot catamaran.
Yeah, but again, and we talk a lot about this, about what you should do, what you shouldn't do. And yeah, I think maybe we should bring out another video like that, because we put that video out a couple of years ago, but I think it's important because there is a lot that you can kind of learn, and there's a lot of mistakes you can make. But for every time I say to someone, don't go out and buy a 50-foot catamaran, go and buy a small boat for $5,000, spend a year learning the lines, you will then find that someone goes and buys a 50-foot catamaran.
And they might get on with it really well and be totally fine. I mean, we've met a lot of people who've done that, and they seem to be going okay.
Todd, thank you once again, sir. And it says he's read that the speed tests of Starlink have been coming in at 80 megapops.
Okay.
That's like what 22 times faster than Australia. Hector from Puerto Rico. And Johnson says, please read the question again. I'm not quite sure what the question was. Type it down below, and there we go.
Okay, so
Kezia says, there's a question. What were your favourite parts of designing Ruby Rose 2? Now, let me just put this out there. We have not designed a catamaran. What we have done is gone to Seawind, who have designed an amazing catamaran using proper naval architects, not some kind of pudgy middle-aged English bloke that kind of thinks he knows what he's talking about.
Because he made a microphone stand. Do you want to show everyone?
Do not touch
this microphone stand, then go onto our social media. It was a couple of days ago. Hilarious. Anyway.
So, I've lost my train of thought. Yeah, I think it was really, for us, the most exciting part. I'm thinking, we did this, we made this, and this is just looking at renders. When it gets past the renders and we actually get to see it in the flesh, we're going to be pretty stoked. Right?
Well, what you missed the bit between saying that the naval architect designed it, and then we
added our je ne sais quoi to the fix.
Well, we did. We went to Seawind with a load of suggestions and kind of a big wish list, and we said, these are the things that we want on a catamaran, and they actually managed to integrate almost all of them onto the Seawind 1317. So, yeah.
SRQ Lisa's got to leave. Goodbye, Lisa. Jacob, hello from Israel. Daniel, hello from Argentina. Kiko says, how much money do you need a month for expenses? We put a video out about this. It's about 900,000 views at the moment. For 2 of us sailing, it is about $3,000 a month. But that is for the lifestyle that we had, which essentially is looking after the boat, flights home once a year, eating out once a week, twice a week.
Yeah.
Food shopping and beer.
Most important part of our budget,
Yeah.
our beer budget. Okay, good question from Mark. Do you think some sailing channels create drama for views? I feel your authenticity. I've enjoyed what I've learned from your reviews of cats. So, what I would say is that the sailing YouTube market at the moment, as I'm sure many of you have noticed, is really saturated. There are and there are, like, I don't even know how many channels there are, like hundreds, maybe over 1,000, and content, really, really high quality videos, but maybe their kind of marketing isn't so good, their thumbnails or their titles aren't really attention grabbing, and they don't seem to have much in the way of, you know, the kind of success that other channels might have, where the quality of the videos themselves might not be kind of, you know, 10 out of 10. They might still be learning, but their thumbnails and titles are just on point and they really know how to market. So I think that it's hard for everyone. It's hard for all the creators to stand out in such a huge crowd. There are obviously channels that have been going for a long time that have a very dedicated kind of base audience, you know, that have kind of been with them from the beginning and who tune in every single week, and they, you know, they kind of keep these big channels going and gathering momentum, not to mention the fact that the channels that have been going for longer tend to have more experience, and so therefore it's you know, you go out and
Sorry, someone just said the sound's not working. Just hit refresh on your browser. Carry on, darling.
So the question, like, do you think people create drama for views? I don't know whether they create drama for views. All I would say is the reality is that drama does create interest. So any story that has a little bit of drama, this isn't just YouTube, anything where there's a little bit of drama. In fact, there's no such thing as a story without a challenge, without an obstacle that needs to be overcome. So
I guess Teresa and I are pretty fortunate in that we have managed to grow to a level where we can do our own thing. And just by example, we can make the content we want to make and not have to pander to an audience. And that, I think, is that kind of like, that has given us, I feel pretty privileged to have that. It's probably one of the best things about doing this. Example, a couple of examples. We were talking to Jason Wynn about this, and he was just saying, you know, what he wanted to put out, like the stuff that he wants to put out, which was kind of like much longer episodes, like, but more cinematic, but the YouTube doesn't favor that sort of thing. It favors kind of putting out something every week and getting the ads, which means that YouTube get the revenue. The other thing is, you know, from our point of view, the video we put out last week, which was, if you haven't seen it, have a watch of it, because it's you know, we put that out and it's one of my favorite videos. It's 29 minutes long. It's kind of almost a feature length episode, and it is done so poorly compared to some of our other videos. And the reason is because the title is not clickbaity. There's no drama in the title, and we sit and we do kind of like think, do we put a more clickbaity title and thumbnail, because that is what gets the views. And if YouTube see that people are looking at it and lots of people are clicking, they push it all out. So the whole thing is about getting viral videos, but we don't want to do that.
But I also think that it's hard because this isn't a YouTube problem. This is a problem that anyone who's ever created anything and tried to kind of sell to the masses has encountered. You know, you think of like authors, you know, there are whole teams within the publishing company whose job it is to come up with a really great book cover, because that's what people see first. They don't read the book and then look at the cover and think, oh, that was good. They look at the cover first and decide whether they want to read the book. And the same goes for YouTube. You see the thumbnail and you see the title and you decide whether it's interesting enough to click. And as I said, when there is so much competition, you've only got so much time in your day. You can't be watching all of the channels that you are interested in. So you just watch the episodes that day that interest you the most. So I don't know if I like the word clickbait, unless it's like, clickbait is actually when you're putting something on the title or thumbnail that doesn't happen in the episode. It's like a false advertisement. But I do think that you have to incentivize people to click. So there has to be a reason why they want to watch that particular episode. So it's a tough gig. It can be
is
hard.
tough,
Yeah. Anyway, I think that we've said enough about
But
that.
as I said, I think honestly, if we was to start a sailing channel today, I don't think we get anywhere because we're not going to show nudity.
I disagree. I think that we would do well because we have learned so much.
If we say we started from scratch, though, so if we
Yeah.
never started a show, if we started today, how would we get traction? The market is saturated.
Well, yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like, there are channels that have started recently who are doing so well, and that's because they're really great at their
know
marketing,
their
their
craft.
thumbnails, and their titles are just on point. They're like amazing. And I'm not saying that their content is bad. I don't have a chance to watch all of it, but I do know that they're doing really great work from the point of view of their marketing.
Yeah.
Anyway,
There we go. So
There we
so again, yeah, I'm not sure what the question was. I think we moved on.
I probably went a little off. See, sometimes I go off tangents. It's not just always
There
me.
you go. So Dan actually asked a question which is being answered completely in the next Technical Tuesday video, which is why are light and fast catamarans considered safer when blue water monohulls are usually a large displacement? This is answered in full in the next video, but in a nutshell, it is because they are designed with different tolerances. The tolerances are less. Really, the thing about it is, if you were to take, it's to do with the fine profiles of bows that essentially shed water faster because either they're pointier or they're smoother on top. They don't offer a large surface area, so they undergo less stresses. Also, smaller areas are far easier to reinforce. But it's all, as I said, the next Technical Tuesday video on this is it's coming out in a couple of weeks, actually.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's a couple of weeks.
Yeah. Right. So sorry, there were loads of comments that I've missed because I was ranting. Nick, have you got?
Oh, Zingaro just split up. I saw that. That's sad. I never
Yeah.
watched their stuff. Honestly, we don't really watch YouTube because we're just all busy doing our own thing.
Honestly, it puts a lot of pressure. And I saw an episode from La Begamond not that long ago, maybe a few months ago, where they didn't split up, but they definitely had they needed some time apart. And I think they implied very strongly that it wasn't, there were lots of obviously factors to that, but part of it was the pressure of having a YouTube channel. And I think anyone who works with their partner might appreciate that it can be hard to have that kind of relationship with your partner that is, a business relationship as well as obviously.
On a lighter note,
else.
Jennifer Lawrence, pointy bows, pointy, anoint my boat, anointy.
That is excellent.
Oh, Jennifer,
That's poetry.
she's obviously been sniffing the diesel. What are you up
What
to,
time
girl?
is it there?
Katniss has been on the case. So Doug asked again. Sorry, Doug, I saw that come the first time. Have we decided on the electronics options? Yes, we are. Yes, we have. It's B&G. Forward-facing sonar, yes. Color radar, yes. Night vision camera. We got a price for a FLIR camera. Whoo! Super expensive. We're talking 5 figures. Not going to happen. There you go. No sound. Fireman Sam 63. Push refresh. The sound will come back. Still buffering. Yeah, just keep pushing. The quality of our signal is not brilliant here.
So something about Tony says the winds have a long job ahead of them getting Curiosity ready to splash. Yeah, it's that's what happens, unfortunately.
Daniel says my favourite video is still Nick's comment on the review of the Neil trimaran. Yeah, do you know what, we almost pulled that video, and when we went to see Neil to kind of try and Neil invited us back to see their catamarans, and we at the end we filmed a bit and we just said we're not putting it out, and the reason we're not putting that, we didn't put the second Neil video out, is in the comments. It's the first pinned comment of the first Neil video. But they accused us of industrial espionage.
Yeah, they thought we were getting paid to.
I said, "Who's paying you to badmouth our product?" And I'm like, "What? Kinder eggs? It's because Kinder eggs, which are illegal in America."
And so is unpasteurized? Yep, free French cheese.
Anyway,
let's not go there.
Chris says, "Do we watch any other channels?" No, not really. Honestly, we are so tied up with. No,
that's not true. You watched something yesterday. Nick never watches YouTube.
Oh no, I did.
And you watched something yesterday, didn't you?
Yeah, I did actually. I'm not going to mention who it is.
No, I built it up so much.
It's no bullshit, just sailing. His stuff is excellent. He's so good. He's just like, from a point of view of cinematography, I'm like, yeah, mate, you know your craft. Mad bastard, absolutely mad. Like sailing around the Arctic Sea in a gale in a 30-foot boat, eating beans out of a tin and probably wiping his ass on nettles. Like, honestly, at this point, I'd be like, it's just miserable. Like you say, oh yeah, I've got 16 changes of clothes for when he's yours, and there's rain and hail and like penguins attacking him. And I'm like, honestly, mate, like, it's not fun.
It makes for great content though.
So
that type of drama is awesome, but I do not want to be going up and sailing the Arctic. And I mean, can you imagine the complaining from this one? Like, you guys would be like, enough.
Yes.
It would be too much.
Episode 7, Nick shat the bed.
And he's still very unhappy. Okay. So, right.
Richard says, are we getting new bikes? No, I don't think we are. I think because we know that we're not going to use those bikes in the Caribbean. You don't use bikes in the Caribbean, and we're going to head to the Caribbean. I don't think we'll take bikes.
No.
Alistair says, what was the name again? No bullshit, just sailing.
Yeah, I think
that's the name of his channel. If you
yeah.
type in NB, he abbreviates it to NBJS.
His name is, thank you, Doug. His name is Eric
Anderson.
Andera.
Anyway, nice bloke. We haven't met him, but we've messaged a few times together. But his drone work is excellent. But Christ, on a bike, like honestly, I would not want to be on a boat with him. Like he and I could probably sit in a bar and get absolutely trolleyed. But if he's like, "Hey, time to go sailing," I'm like, "No way, mate! Like you come with us. There's a trampoline there. I'll get you a couple of beers. You sit there, get your pale blue skin out, and enjoy yourself." But we're not doing a reciprocal trip.
No, but he wouldn't be into that anyway. That doesn't.
Yeah, Eric.
But
honestly, I like his content. He's the thing about no bullshit, just sailing. You can see that he has a real love for the stuff that he does, both the sailing and the content creation. And he doesn't put a lot of videos out, but he's had his channel 5 years. It's been going 2 years longer than us, but he knows his craft. And I appreciate that when I look at his work, because I see some channels and I'm like, you're just knocking out. It's not good what you're knocking out. And I'm obviously no names mentioned, but when we do occasionally say, well, you've been going for 5 years, you should have probably spiked your quality a little bit.
Yeah, someone whose username I really appreciate, which is Mr. Fruity Cakes, says he gets through drone like I get through cups of tea. Are you English by any chance? Yeah, his drone work is awesome. He obviously is very experienced at that. Okay.
Edward says, why don't you take a bike to the Caribbean? We lived in the Caribbean for 2 years. There is no need for bicycles. It's too hot, too humid. And
it's too hilly. The islands are like too steep too. It's not. And everything's right there. You don't need to cycle 5 kilometres to go to the supermarket. Yeah. It's right there.
Yeah.
All right. I think
they were about done. I think it's a good and appropriate length of time. Plus, it's almost beer o'clock, isn't it?
It is beer o'clock.
So, listen, everyone. We will try and do another live stream probably before we leave Greece. We're going to go upstairs and try and find a better signal, though, so that we'll try and hopefully make it less blocky for you all. In the meantime, stay safe. Whatever you choose to do. If you're in the States, have a calm week. Have a calm week. Like whatever happens, just Just stay calm, keep your family safe, stay away from trouble. And listen, just look after yourselves, everyone. This has been a pretty wanky year.
A wanky year. 2020, the wankiest year yet.
Yeah, so it's been a wanky old year. 2021 is going to be awesome. There are going to be tassels, there's going to be beer, there's going to be ice sculptures, there's going to be a revolving dwarf on an expensive turntable.
I don't think that you can say that.
What?
Say
dwarves?
Yeah, you can't say that.
Why can't I say dwarf?
Because you can't. It's not politically correct to me.
Well, I could be talking about Tolkien.
Yeah, that kind of dwarf.
That kind of dwarf.
Yeah.
There we go.
Okay, I'm glad we got that sorted.
A revolving mythical.
Fantastical creature.
Fantastical tweecher. Nobody quite
On that note.
Goodbye.
Bye, guys.